Hi everybody, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you so much for being here today, for joining me on this journey. I want to talk to you today about something that I think is really important for older women, and something that you almost certainly have been thinking about in your own life. It's about creating boundaries, and how really at the bottom of happiness in our 60s and 70s and 80s is this ability to put our needs at least at even to everybody else, but really, if not that first, put our needs first. And one of our bloggers, Marie Morin, wrote this article about how to create healthy boundaries so that your needs are met. Now, I know from my own experience that, we were raised in a generation where moms were, there to help everybody. We were nurturing. I actually almost became a nurse because that was kind of one of the career paths, teaching and nursing. And I'd be very surprised if those aren't the two main careers that our 60 and Me sisters have followed. But they're giving, careers. They're where you give up to others. That's kind of certainly how I was raised, and maybe you too. But the point is that we spend our whole life, taking care of the needs of others, and thinking about our children, for example, making sure that they get everything that they want, get more than what we were able to have. If a lot of women in our community were raised in very, sort of in a poor situation where they didn't have a lot of stuff. I didn't at all, but you want your children to have more. So you're always looking out for their needs. And then when you get to work, you're looking out for the boss and how to make them happy, how to make them successful. And, your whole life is woven with this, like no boundaries, like just genuinely opening yourself to help everybody that you possibly can. I think a lot of women in our community are empathetic. They're empaths, which are people who are touched by the world, and we feel the emotion of the world, and we want to help. And I think that's a strong tendency of women, especially in this age group. Partly because of the background I mentioned for many of us, and also just the world that we live in. It needs some help, and we have wisdom and perspective, and we're in a position to be helpful. And so we tend to want to reach out and do what we can. It could be financial help. It could be help for your time. And I think a lot of Marie talks about this whole idea that when people ask you to do things for them, there's actually one word that you can actually use, which is very, very powerful, and that's no. It doesn't have to be the word no, but it's that sense of declining. And she talks a little bit about her situation with her family. This is probably something that a lot of you experience too, where even when your family needs you to save the day, they'll call you up at the last minute and say, oh, is it possible for you to do this? Or can you do that? Or can you, in her case, it was pick up her grandson at the bus stop. And she would say that her daughter was always, forgetting to pick him up at the bus stop, or working late, or not able to get away from work. And it was like, Mom, at the last minute, can you go and pick up your grandson from the bus stop? And Marie just said, finally, she had to say, I'm doing stuff, like I'm busy sometimes, and I can't actually go to the bus stop to pick him up. But of course I know I've got to save the day. I've got to put whatever I'm doing down. I've got to go then rush to the stop and pick him up. And you feel this need to honor your obligations to your people. And in saying no to that person, you actually create a situation that can result in a negative response. And this is where we're so afraid, especially if your daughter-in-law, for example, is sensitive to you as in general. I mean, a lot of women are sensitive to the mothers in their husbands' lives, and you don't want any upset. You don't want to upset her, so you actually do whatever is asked, to save the day. And so Marie just said she basically had to put her foot down and say, could I please ask you to always give me 24 hours notice if you need me to pick up my grandson. And I think she said that there was a bit of a negative response to that. But she said by maintaining that boundary, she was able to have a much better relationship in the long run with her daughter-in-law, and also with her own life. She could actually do things. She could travel somewhere or go without having that that feeling that at any moment she might be needed to save the day. Because isn't that what we do? I'm going to save the day. And excuse me, there's other ways that we can do this too. People ask you to give them things, or to, you know, just again, take some of your time, tell you a story, share something with you that you really honestly don't want to have to deal with. And, you know, but you say, oh, I really should help, you know, or they really need me. Okay. And in doing those boundaries, you know, we actually then create power for ourselves. So I know this has happened to me sometimes, and I don't know how actually the best way to deal with it is. You know, I think other than to say, you know, I know that you really would like me to look after your cat for the next 2 weeks, but I'm afraid I've got other things I need to do, and I know you're my friend, and I'm trying to create some boundaries around what other people ask me to do, and, you know, and my own needs. And I mean, that's probably a clumsy way to say it, but, you know, their requests, and they always are going to ask the request with a sense of urgency, like no one else can do this but you. We're having a fair, and like, you know, we need someone to stand there for 8 hours on Saturday, and, you know, Mary is not able to come, and we really, really need you to be there. You're the only person that knows this, and you're so good at it. And you can hear the the conversations, because people who want something from you are very, very good at getting you to feel guilty if you don't say yes. So boundaries are super, super important when it comes to relationships and also to family. The courage that it takes, though, is pretty tough. You've got to put your own self-care first. And this is really, you know, start using these words if you need to. I'm really looking out for my self-care, and I really can't, you know, take this on. And it's not out of fear, it's out of respect for yourself that you're asking this thing. She talks about valuing self-love in a very deep emotional way. We have our values as we get older that we live by. Now, for me, kindness is one of my values. I actually do everything I can to be a kind human being. That's kind of one of my things, right? So when I talk about boundaries, where does the boundary exist from being kind and being thoughtful and doing things for other people, and, you know, saying no respectfully and moving forward? It's really, really challenging. Has anyone else had this challenge? I mean, maybe I'm the only one that feels this kind of constant need to help other people, but maybe it's something that you're experiencing and you can share with us, because certainly in my life it is the case. But Marie actually has some ideas. She's got 5 tips for creating boundaries. And actually, I kind of like these, and I think I'm going to read these out because I make sure I get them right. The first is to examine your values and beliefs. You know, where are the lines that you can't go beyond? If someone asks you to buy something that was not right, or like, you know, one of your grandkids said, I'm 17 and I'd like to buy some wine. You know, where are your values? Like, those are the lines. What are your values and beliefs? Write it down. You know, what are your essential needs and, you know, life goals? What is it you can really, where's the line that you won't go beyond because of your values? Be compassionate to yourself is number 2. You know, it's the classic, put your own mask on before helping the children. You've got to do that. Oh, I know, it's so hard, because they feel so vulnerable sometimes. They feel so needy. They feel so like you really, you know, they absolutely need you. And a part of you likes to be needed. I mean, who doesn't? But be compassionate to them, but also be compassionate to yourself. Start to build assertiveness skills. Learn that no is a complete sentence. I think Anne Lamott said that, but it's like, you know, no, it's okay just to say no. Sorry. Or no, don't even say sorry. Just say no. See, this is my typical British thing. I always immediately say, sorry, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do this. But it's like, no. Can you maybe find someone else to do that? Or whatever you say to soften it. But create a game plan how to say no. Here we go. I didn't do a very good job with that, did I? Because you have to have a game plan. Whether it's going to be simply, no, I'm sorry, I can't help with that, and use the word sorry, or no, it's not something that I want to do this weekend, or no, I don't have time to do that. I was about to say I'm afraid. See, this is really where it's hard to build your game plan, but you've got to figure it out so that when you say it, it sounds like it's real. It's you're creating boundaries for you, so your needs can be acknowledged and met. The final thing is to extend sympathy, kindness, and respect to you. You're always doing it for others. You know, kindness, respect, empathy. Do it back to you. What do you need? What are your experiences of creating boundaries? I'd love to know more about how you do it, and run me through your game plan, because I obviously don't, I'm not doing a very good job of it myself. But how do you handle that when someone asks you to do something that you know you don't want to do and you feel obligated? Great topic, actually. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments in the section below. I love reading them and feeding off of each other. Give each other some support here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so that it can be shared by YouTube, and subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, because we do videos 4 days a week, and love to have you here with us as part of our 60andMe community. Take really good care, everybody. Have a fabulous day wherever you are, and stay strong and put yourself first today, okay? All the best. Bye for now.